Greetings and welcome to CRT Gaming Podcast, episode number 45, Bushido Blade. This is Jones, and with me tonight are Dazpick and Gohan. There's little gremlins in the background, just smirking, trying to keep me from laughing. So, how you guys? How you doing tonight, Dazpick?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Doing good.
Enjoying the unfortunate break that we've had to take, but it's good. Things are going to get back on schedule now, I think.
Well, we lost all our sponsorship, you know.
Yeah, all of it. It's all too.
We're back to square one. So.
It's like the beginning of Ghostbusters 2.
It's time to retool the show then.
We're doing parties and bar mitzvahs.
Yeah.
We've got a truck full of old games and we take it to kids' parties.
Everyone sounds like they're good spirits, so I'm going to assume you're doing pretty well, Mr. Gohan.
Absolutely excited to talk about Bushido Blade.
Yes, it is.
This is a favorite.
Yeah, so we're doing basically games that are of the fighting genre that are not made by Capcom nor SNK. So, you know, there's tons of, other available fighters, but this was my choice, and I went with the original Bushido Blade on the Sony PlayStation. This is a game that I remembered. It's got a kind of a steep learning curve to get good at it, but I remember like a long time ago when this came out, I absolutely fell in love with this game. And to immediately speak of said learning curve, how'd you guys feel about the difficulty upon first hitting the start button?
You mean the insta-death?
Yes.
That happened repeatedly after I turned it on. No, it was good. Annoying at first, but I knew because I remembered that because we played this a lot back then. All of us did. We played the shit out of this, and all of us got pretty fucking good at it too, which was kind of scary. But none of that came back in the first 5 minutes that I played. It was ugly. I got my head stabbed a lot. But then eventually I busted out the crusty old Itsumi and gave my katana and started chopping some shit up, and then things got back on track. So, but yeah, it's awesome, man. Unfortunately, I didn't dig in as much as I really wanted to, because I know there was a lot of things that I just didn't remember, and I didn't have a fact pulled up to explain all the nuance that I was missing. But I do, in playing when I did, it was really good, and I was getting my groove back, chopping people's legs out so they couldn't walk, and then stabbing their arms so they only could swing their sword with one hand. All that stuff.
You're never going to get the honorable ending that way, Daz.
Hey,
no.
I knew that there was a whole honorable thing too. I remembered. But it was great when I chopped the dude's leg and then he started crawling after me. I was like, that's right, you bastard. Yeah, that's good shit.
Yeah, so it's basically this game is. Well, you have like 6 characters you can kind of choose from the beginning, and then after you select your character, there's there's like 7 or 8 weapons you could choose from, and each kind of comes with its own moveset. Mm-hmm. And in addition to that, you also had 3 different stances that you could stand at, which would alter, basically the way you're playing the game. Like you have like a high stance, regular, medium, and then like a low stance. And it made the game very strategic, because it's one-hit kills. Like if you get hit, you're not expecting your arm to get hurt or your leg to get hurt. Most likely you're dead.
Yeah, it's over. It's over.
Yeah, so everything's very deliberate.
Yeah, and some of the matches I did start off, you get that perfect hit right off the bat. So some of the fights went really fast, which is awesome. But then, you know, you end up facing against some harder people. But I remember when I played it originally, I think I used the broadsword. I didn't want to use that this time because it was ugly. I stuck to the katana. But I remember I'd used the old guy and I used the broadsword.
Oh, okay, so you're talking about Gambit? That's what that guy looked like.
Yes, Gambit. I think his name was Semi or something like that. But yeah, he's an old geezer. He's the geezer.
I'll put a picture of Gambit right next to him. He's totally Gambit.
He is totally Gambit.
Well, like you're talking about the buttons, right? Like the control scheme for this was absolutely like built for the PlayStation back in the day.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it was very elegant. Like every part of the controller was used correctly. Like the shoulder buttons, like Jones is saying, like alternates between, you know, your low to high stances, and parry is the square button, and then the other three buttons are just like, you know, up, medium, and low attack. Like it's a really intuitive like system, you know, and it definitely is like built for, you know, the PlayStation 1.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, it also did. Like the control scheme allowed you to do certain things that I'd have to really think hard about it, but I don't think there was another game you could do something like that. Where, you know, mostly like all 3D fighting games, you're confined into some type of ring, or
Yeah,
you know,
these
whether
things
it's
were massive.
yeah, like so, like the first level you start off with, you can just like turn the other direction and just bolt.
Beat feet.
And you like, come catch me, you know. So you run all the way to like the edge of the screen, and you know that loads up another level, and you know you can go about 6 or 7 levels deep into it, which you have to do to see the final boss. Like you have to go all the way to the, like, if you play through it normally, you know, fight a couple people, then you eventually, like, your character does a little animation where he jumps into a well. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you're playing it regularly, because all those levels are linked, if you actually run to the well off the rip, you can jump down it. And then if you fight everybody without getting hit after that, then you fight the final boss, which is like this black armored samurai guy, which he's really cool looking and compared to, you know, some of the characters in the game.
Yeah, the characters are cool, you know, in the game, like the designs and all that stuff, but it's really the weapons that are the characters. You know, like those are the actual different like attack styles. Right. The characters are cool because, you know, they kind of go from like slow to fast and kind of encumbrance a little bit, you know, in terms of their speed and how they respond. But the weapons are really kind of the characters, because those are the animation sets. And yeah, Daz, I was usually like playing the katana or the nodachi. You know, those were just kind of like the classic weapons that we used to play, you know, because this game came out when I was in college, and like there was a group of us that just loved fencing against each other and exploiting every last bit of this game.
Oh yeah, it's all about the katana to me. You know, it's a game of sword fighting, samurais, ninjas. You know, Japanese theme. You know, Japanese inspired music, and you know, it's katana. Bring it on. One thing about the music in this game is it has very good music. It's just done like in the loading screen or the character select screen. The game itself just has like atmospheric noises, you know, so it's like sword clashes, rustling, creek, you know, water running, stuff
Clangs,
like that.
Yeah.
So I think when we actually air this episode, maybe we will give it the Samurai Showdown soundtrack. To give it I think that'll work good for it. They can look back and see their error of their ways.
I completely agree about the music, Jones. Especially like when I always like investigating like who did the music for these games, and the guy who did it, his name is Shinji Hasoi, and he is the actual composer for Ridge Racer. Like, he is the composer of Ridge Racer. Like, how did they Like, because like you said, Jones, it's like the music when it's there, it's great, but it's not when you're dueling. Like, and you have the guy who wrote, and the music that is in Bushido Blade, I think is really excellent. But like, man, why aren't you using this amazing talent while you're doing the meat and potatoes of, dueling each other?
I think I know
dueling
why.
each other down.
I think I know why. I mean, the levels barely loaded because they were so big. And so I don't
You
know.
think it's like a streaming thing?
Yeah, I don't think the PlayStation can handle having anything more in memory.
Well, I think all
I think it was a
the
technical-
audio back then was just read from the disc. Because remember, because you could originally put Ridge Racer in, it loads the game in memory, then pop it out and throw in like White Zombie and race to like.
Well, that's
White
what I'm
Zombie.
saying. When the game was playing, like when you were on those stages, as big as those stages were, if you were running all over the place, it had to load those up, and it didn't do it great as it was. I think it might have been a technical issue. Just
Where it had to be punctuated with a load, basically, because that's what like kicked off the next track. Yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, but I just want to plus one what Jones said. Like, I mean, the music when the attract mode is on, like when the game starts up, is freaking hype, and it's awesome.
That's fire. when it comes on.
It's like, oh my god, like, how did you guys not take this genius composer and just have him make that sonic background for this game? Because, it's kind of a shame, but yeah, and I think that's another thing, Daz, like you're saying, like how big the levels were. Like, I think that was another thing that just at the time could only be done on PlayStation, where it's just like, I cannot believe how this is just like one big streaming maze that you could fight, duel your friends in. Like, that is something that no system before PlayStation could really do or had done. I don't know, at least in my knowledge in fighting.
But there's something to be said too, though, for the. I mean, all right, going to Japanese cinema and whatnot, you look at those samurai movies and whatnot, and, there wasn't really blasting music, but there was a duel happening, it was the stillness and then punctuated by the violence, right? So I think it also could have, and again, I don't know the designers or anything, but there's something to be said for the fact that it kind of mimicked that to a certain degree. It was quiet. You hear the leaves rustling, the tree, the wind blowing, and then the clang of the weapons, and then dead dude.
No, that's a good point.
I did like that. That's not to say that the music wasn't good. The music was good.
That's my Japanese flute while you talk. Makes everything better.
Man, we're gonna get like a soundtrack for freaking. He's gonna play the shamisen next.
Yeah, it was probably done by design. I don't know. I just I want to bathe in it. Like give it all to me. Give me the weapons. Give me the environment. Give me the music. I did, but like the levels were cool. Like when the levels expanded out, you had different things you could interact with. Like you could, like someone gets a little too close to you, throw a little mud in their eye, or throw some snow in their face.
So good.
Yeah, that was a cool touch.
And you're right though, right, guys? Like, when people, and you could say the same thing about Windjammers or any of the other fighting games, right? It's like these games really come alive when you're fighting another person. The AI can only do so much, right? And there was just something really awesome about when people got at a high skill level, in this game, and people started to know the environment. Like, how cool is it, like the first time where you break off a fight and you go into the bamboo forest and you chop, chop the bamboo down. It's just like, that is just so, at the time it was pretty mind blowing.
Yeah, or you could climb and get the high ground. It's like, come on up here. Come on up here.
Elevation was a part of it, man. Elevation was a part of that as well,
Oh, Obi-Wan, yeah. We got the high ground. Yeah, man.
Where the hell are you fighting these dudes? Because it's like this weird like ninja cobra base or something. Like, it's kind of like a parking lot, but there's like some checkpoint, and there's like a kind of like a building or something. Like,
And they're all connected.
they're all connected. You
Well,
jump
you
down a
know,
well.
You jump, then you're in the sewers, then you're fighting some. Well, actually, you then get to the helipad where you fight the guy that has the gun, which that always seemed like a fair fight.
Oh yeah, Kachi or whatever his name is. That guy's an asshole.
Cock.
He is. He either dies quick or
Or you're sidestepping the entire fight.
Yeah.
which if you can survive long enough, he has to reload. But I was only able to do that like. I was trying to do it, and I was only able to do it like once because, I dodge about 8 bullets and, I'm dead.
Yeah, it was. I think when I was trying to fight him, I tried running away and sidestepping and all this shit and all this stuff I was trying, and then finally I just smacked him in the face first thing and killed him. I was like, oh, okay, well that works better. Just got a hit right off the bat, boom, dead. I was like, why didn't I do that to begin with?
Yeah, but it did the character that followed him though. I don't even know if he had a name, or if I can remember his name, but he was kind of like a I don't know. He had like a purple cape, kind of had like this traditional gear on. You're like on the beach, maybe it's sunset or sunrise.
Yeah.
That's my favorite level. I absolutely love that level.
Yeah,
and that
Killed me
character
pretty
is
quick.
cool looking.
Yes.
that is a very kind of classic scene. It's like the duel on the Ganyu is what they call that. Yeah, gosh, So, did you guys play much of the kind of survival mode that kind of came with Bushido Blade?
I got to 30.
You're an impressive swordsman, Jess.
I developed a technique that only got
I
me
called
to
mine
30.
the head tap. The head tap is my technique.
Oh, that's a good strike. A little pop him in the head. Mine was the like get in a low stance, and then when you run, like your sword slash kind of does a thing where you do like a slash to their midsection, but you do like a 360 when you do it. So like if they go to attack you, it kind of swings you out of the way while you hit them. But apparently only worked 30 times.
I thought
had your
that was
number.
such a cool mode. Like in the old Street Fighter games and fighting games like that, they always had a practice mode where you just kind of clubbed on, the AI, kind of standing there. But Bushido Blade, and Tobal had a similar mode where you would kind of,
Oh yeah, it did.
do a survival mode essentially, and of course, like it's kind of sad and dramatic because at the end of Bushido Blade, you're like your leg is wounded, your arms are wounded, you're just kind of like.
Well, that's what was cool about it. Like say you're fighting one
It gets
person on that
dramatic.
level. Yeah, like your arm gets hurt, or you take a headshot, but you survive. The next match that you're in, your
bandage.
arm's bandaged up or your head's bandaged and there's like blood coming through it. It looked like you've been in a fight. So, by the time you get towards the end, you're more mummy than man now. So. Thought it was a cool touch, though. I always liked seeing damage that your character takes in games whenever it is done, which is rarely.
I think we've all heaped enough praise on Bushido Blade. It's an awesome game. Sadly, there aren't more of them. I think ideas have been borrowed and implemented into other games. Definitely the stances have made it into, the likes of Neo and Ghost of Tsushima and things like that. And and those systems are really good. But it's a little bummer that there hasn't been a fighting game like this. I think there may be one. I think there's some indie developers. I've seen games on Steam that are similar ideas with it. I think it's Hellish Court or something like that. But I haven't played them, so I don't know. I just seen videos of them. They look impeccable, but I don't know if it's the same thing as that was. But it was Bushido Blade was awesome, man. It was a one of a kind at the time. That's for damn sure.
I think definitely at the time it was definitely a whole new ball game in comparison to every other thing you played up till that moment.
We've gotten like 50 Street Fighters and Mortal Kombats, but we got like 2 Bushido blades.
Yeah, that's exactly.
How many Soul Blade games are there and all that shit? But we got 2 Bushido blades.
And it's kind of a bummer, right? Like, this reminded me of when we were talking about Panzer, and it's like, well, what happened to Team Andromeda? And it's like, they make like Sonic Olympic games now. And it's like, what? And same thing with this company, like Lightweight. They make like Hello Kitty games now. They don't do anything like their kind of heyday projects when they were starting out. So it's like, man, like this is That's another rough. One that kind of got relegated to kids show port game and stuff, as opposed to doing like what was, I think, a pretty damn innovative idea back then. And like Daz said, it's like nowadays it's like whether it's Ghost of Tsushima or Neo or there's other games that utilize this kind of stuff. Like Bushido Blade was kind of one of the first ones that really did that well, and they did it with a lot of finesse.
Yeah, it actually had the link option, which I kind of even forgot about.
Yes, that was how we played it, man. We had the hole knocked in the wall so we could play our PlayStations at the different TVs.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was fucking great. We had LAN before without PCs at the time, man. We were rocking that shit. It was fucking awesome.
We have a mutual
security
friend.
Deposit, but
yeah, we had like a PlayStation like intranet kind of is what we had basically. Right?
PlayStation.
Supper station and the PlayStation and
gray market gaming setup. Oh no, our mutual friend, his name is Dave. I went to school with him, and it was one of those games that there weren't a whole lot of early PlayStation games that utilized this. Like, I remember playing a lot of Wipeout split screen and Doom split screen, but I do remember trying out the network mode for this game, for Bushido Blade as well. So it was one of those rare titles that actually utilized that stuff back then. There wasn't a whole lot using it.
It wasn't.
No, it's just cool because like at that moment in time, like I said, you're always to play like something 2-player, you were regulated to like their screen. So it was cool to be like on your own screen doing,
Yeah.
It was kind of a new concept at the time. For consoles at least.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. Well, now that we've laid buckets of praise on the impeccable Bushido Blade, it's time for me to pick where we're going next.
All right.
I've kind of been worried about this moment the entire episode.
Yeah, so where does Daz take us for Season of the Fist?
Well, I'll tell you, Gohan had illuminated me for a minute and reminded me of a game that I hadn't thought about. I hadn't thought about Weapon Lord. And
it's all
I had
your fault.
Hell of a good time playing it, but I'm not picking it. Because it's far more important that we see a gentleman that we only saw in one prior episode, and he demands screen time. And that would be Battle Monsters, my friends. We're doing it. Macar Yudo is coming. And Heart Heat Harn is coming for your ass.
Okay, if we do this, there's
We're
no
doing
that's
that.
it. I want combo videos. I want proof of play.
Oh,
Proof
hell
of play.
yes. Absolutely. That means you, Gohan.
Heart Heat Harn.
Heart Heat Harn, Strawberry Jam. Coming for your ass.
Yeah, I want to see some impressive combos. I want full life bars drawn down. I want
Macar Yudo. Freaking people. Just breaking them. Yes. For anybody who doesn't know what this is, you will be illuminated next week. This is the stupidest games I've ever seen, but it's insane amounts of fun to play with people. And I can't wait.
Nothing less, Daz.
It's gonna be awesome.
I thought you were gonna do the right thing.
No, fuck the right thing. This is the better thing.
So I guess stick around next week, and you'll get to see some very pixelated pixels.
Many chunky pixels.
Oh yeah, very chunky. But we're gonna check out Battle Monsters for the that was just on the Saturn. Was it
It's on Saturn? Yeah.
Okay.
Saturn only.
Oof.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna have to run this thing through a toe pass to make it look decent.
Deep cut.
So stick around next week. Until then, this is Jones with Dazpick and Gohan, and we are signing out.
Until next time.